welcome Dr. Samira Alayan. She is a senior lecturer and researcher at the Hebrew University and lecturer and teacher trainer at the David Yelin Teacher College in Jerusalem. Her fields of interest, among others, are education in conflict societies, textbooks, and identity in the Middle East.
Thank you for coming to listen. Thank you, Noam, for inviting me today. This is my book. I'm more than 15 years traveling in East Jerusalem and trying to write many papers about youth in East Jerusalem and about education, because I believe I teach in School of Education. I believe education can change. It's a very important tool for changing society. And although it's a process for taking time, but unfortunately, when I start to think about this book, my question was why I'm traveling there more often and there is no change in the schools. What's going on since 1967 until today? So this project, I will present here part of my projects, and I hope that I can just explain the thing, what's going on here. I'm very bad with this, 1 minute. Yes, okay. So just a little information background of Palestinian living in the state of Israel. The Palestinian Arab population in Israel, we are now like 1,878,000 persons out of the population of 805 million citizens. Count between 20% of the total population, including those of East Jerusalem, which they are 3,000, which was annexed to Israel proper in 1967. Because it's easier for me to see, I will take this. Okay.
So you include the East Jerusalem
Yeah.
and Israeli Palestinians, although they don't have citizenship.
Yeah, I will talk about this now, okay? But we are Arab, all of us, and we are Palestinian, all of us. This is what I'm trying to say here. The connection of the Arab school sectors in the Israeli education system is like this. So the Israeli population education is divided into several, Ahmed tried to explain it, sectors which in the Israeli society, which as you see, Jewish sector, Jewish religion, Jewish Orthodox Jew, and we have the Arab sector. And in recently year, there is an increasing number of private schools as well, including in the Ministry of Education. The structure of the educational system in Israel separated schools based on subgroup. I don't see the glasses, sorry. Subgroup specifically with respect of the Arab school system from the Jewish one. The conditions of the school, the administrator. If I talk about the administrators in charge of the Jewish school system are all Jews. When I check, while the administrator in charge of the Arab school system are both Jews and Arab. Division with the Arab education system. The Arab education in Israel is divided into two parts, and this is the two parts that you mentioned here. The education of the Palestinian Arab Israeli, this is the citizen. Individuals who hold the Israeli passport and are supposed to be equal right. And the second part is the education of the Palestinian Arab, the resident of the East Jerusalem. They hold an Israeli identity card, but not an Israeli passport. They are entitled to vote for the local authority, the municipality, but not for the Israeli Knesset, the parliament. Okay. when I check the education system in East Jerusalem is a complicated system for many reasons. The main reason that I found, there is many that I will mention in shortly, but the main reason is that it's supervised by more than one authority. The first authority is the Israeli government, which is the Ministry of Education and the Municipality of Education. But the second one is the Palestinian Authority. The Palestinian is there in East Jerusalem because they control the textbooks. And I will show you which textbook they are controlling. Okay, I don't know. What's good with this? It's not moving. Okay. Okay. So issues that suffering in the education system, we have many issues that East Jerusalem suffered from poverty. I will not give numbers, but if you ask later, I have the numbers. Also, we have overcrowded classes. We have high level of dropping out of the school. We have the curricula system is both, as Ahmed a little bit mentioned it. He said Tawjihi and Bigrut. Tawjihi means the Palestinian curricula, and Bigrut is the Israeli curricula, and the structure of the school and the education system. Reforms and changes. The Israeli state has a purpose since 1967, which is, we can see it, we can write it, we can read it, to improve the educational system in East Jerusalem. But if it's really, this is the purpose, the question is, my main question is, why the education system in East Jerusalem has failed with no development in the past 5 decades. When we do any research, we can take the Arab out or the Orthodox Jews, and then we can measure the state. Whether there is a relation between the consensus failure of the system, or there is a political policy for the state that this system will continue to be failed. And my question was for the principals, teachers, and residents, are these changes a response to the needs of the field, of the resident, or it's an order from higher authorities coming to the East Jerusalem without to take in consideration their voices in this change? What I found. This study has found that the failures of the educational system is a result of, first of all, it's really strategically indeed for the resident of East Jerusalem, different from the rest of the state. Okay, because if we said we have the Arab sector, we have the Israeli-Palestinian sector, which they have their own supervisor, own teachers, own system, and we have, it's called the Memuneh al-Hinukh Arabi in East Jerusalem, which is, in Hebrew, this means the Israeli part, a sector responsible about East Jerusalem because they are a resident. And what is built, this system, built on power relation between the state and the resident. And we have also lack of internal responsibility, not just the state and the municipality is responsible about the failure, but also the resident. Lack of internal responsibility from the resident for the educational schools and educational of their children. Everything I ask there, they throw it to the occupation, to the state, to everything, and there is no responsibility for them to take, okay, we are also part of this failure. So it's like both. The policy is built on power relation between the state and the resident, which is caused many things, as you see here. The building is heritage and no rooms for criticism, and resident are depending on the State of Israel, and also it's a control of cooperation. This means the supervisors are all Palestinians, Israeli. The state use them as agents to control the education system in East Jerusalem. And this is, we can see the change currently. We have since 1967 just 3 supervisors to all the education system until 2014. And currently we have 16 suddenly that the residents saw them as a supervisor to control them, not to improve their education. Also, the curricula. It's very important to see the curricula following the Arab-Israeli War, 1984, the Gaza and Strip came under Egyptian administration, while the West Bank was covered by Jordan, so that the textbook was Jordanian and Egyptian. After Oslo process is what agreement between Israel and the Palestinian Authority to be responsible about the education system and especially about the curricula. And the Palestinians start to create their own textbook, not just in 2000. And after 2000, the curricula start to be in all school, West Bank, Gaza, and East Jerusalem, and it is the Tawjihi, what is called. And this was also in East Jerusalem. And the question, why Israel control everything in East Jerusalem, just the curricula, which is a very important tool to give the textbook. So since 2000 to 2008 was the old curricula, which I have it in my book, and I check it every single book. But in 2018, 2019, the Palestinian National Authority decided to change the textbook because all the attack in the war, and they have this two picture from the new curricula, which is this year. I have the books, I still didn't check them, but I will talk a little bit about what they study until now, the Palestinian in East Jerusalem. The same textbooks from the Palestinian National Authority used in Jerusalem school. They are censored by the Israeli Ministry of Education. How they do the censorship in 3 ways: erasing symbols, leaving a segment, and deleting sometimes the whole chapter. You can see here one of the textbooks. It's taught in Ramallah in Palestine, and when it's coming to Israel, they just took from the stem from the resident in East Jerusalem. They know it's a Palestinian, but there is no sign for Palestinian National Authority or anything showing their identity and their culture. Or this kind of book, different book, which is a little bit tell about the Zionism movement and give a little bit history about the Jews. And they just took everything from the book. So just 1 minute, yes. Just you can see here, the question was, what is the aim of the Zionism? And the student in East Jerusalem, he read white. There is no aim for the Zionism movement. And or a chapter like this, that a little bit he study about Palestinian cause, about Yasser Arafat, about where he's coming from, and all this stuff, and what is going on, that the whole chapter is white pages. Yeah, the whole chapter is white. So you have like 10 pages is white in the middle of the textbooks, and until the last year they were studying this. So I will summarize that we have 170 schools in East Jerusalem, which is 65 of them official public school, 105 non-official school, public school, both controlled and cooperated by the State of Israel, with everything, all the facilities, just the curriculum. And so the student in East Jerusalem, according to Zemi Manchi is the Ministry of the municipality. This is the number. I don't want to be okay because I have 1 minute. It's not important for me how much student I have the book here. So just I want to talk a little bit in this moment about the Tawjihi and the Begrut, how it's coming and why. what you see here, that the censorship, in my eyes, it's failed, because Israel decided to do the censorship for a book until they arrive to the Tawjihi. Tawjihi is the grade 10, 11, 12. And when the student arrives to this classes, it's very important for him to succeed the final exam and to arrive to the universities. What's going on, they go to Ramallah, they bring the whole book without censorship, and they study it. Israel know that, the municipality know that, the teacher know that, the principal know that. There is no way what to do. So the alternative way to do that, was to change the whole curricula and to put the Israeli curricula. The Israeli curricula is more given the student to involved in Israeli society. The Israeli curricula and the Begrut is also give them to speak Hebrew language and to have critical thinking, and also they can involved in universities, academic universities, and jobs. But the way, this is the positive thing, and this is why you see here many students from East Jerusalem, from many places. But the negative way, in my eyes, when I check it how they do it, the Palestinian resident in East Jerusalem, they are not part of the decision. They are not part of the project or anything other that they are creating. So everything coming from up to the schools, and the Palestinian Israeli, this is the way how to control it inside the school. So in my eyes, if the change will come, I don't see it from the government. I see it from project like Vision for the Future, which they are really doing many other for education tools and youth. The youth and the children, they are the important session here to change the vision. But I was very happy about the project when Noam gave me to read the paper, and I have many positive things to comment on it in a positive way. But I was sad that to see the checkpoint. When you ask the Israeli or the Palestinian student in East Jerusalem, they still have one picture with a checkpoint, but it's more clean checkpoint because it's part of their life. They don't see life without occupation. So we have still the checkpoint to be there. And I was expected from the student, I hope this project, to not to have any checkpoint in this with other vision, and not to have them but clean, or I have to have the soldier or the military army. And this is not today and the vision. My vision is not to see this and to see clear Jerusalem and clear society with checkpoint. Thank you so much.